Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to the No DQ live recap of NXT Takeover War Games 2019 from Chicago, Illinois. And spoiler alert, it was another excellent NXT event. It's always a guarantee. As I say every time I do one of these videos, NXT always delivers. They have a winning formula, and they keep going with it, and the guys just go out there and they tear down the house. And that's exactly what they did tonight. Thank you to everyone tuning in to this review, whether it's via the chat room, you're watching live, or you're watching on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. If you like this video, please subscribe if you haven't already. Click on the notification bell to get updates for all future videos, and please spread the word. Tell a friend. I'm sure you know somebody who watches wrestling. Have them check out this video. So we had the kickoff, which was only 30 minutes. Nice change of pace here. I thought that this was great. 30-minute kickoff, get right to the point. They did have a kickoff match, which added 5 total matches to the War Games card, which is fine. Again, it's 5 matches. It's not like you're doing a kickoff match and having 10 matches. You have your little warm-up match. It's all good. You get right to the point. You had Isaiah Scott versus Angel Garza. Pretty solid opening match. Good stuff here. And Garza ended up picking up the victory with his wing clipper finisher. Gary with a $2 super chat says, "Full Gear or Takeover Chicago, what you got, boss?" Well, I would probably go with Takeover just because it's a short show, which I like. This show flew by very quickly. I mean, let's face it. It's 9:30 Eastern right now. When was the last time a WWE pay-per-view was over at 9:30 Eastern? I feel like I'm on the West Coast right now. I mean, there were times where WWE pay-per-views would still be going on at 9:30 Pacific time. And here we are, 9:30 Eastern, and we're completely done. I could do this video and then I can kick back for a while. So I love the fact that this show was not long. That's one thing. And of course, the other thing is you pay the $9.99 a month for the WWE Network versus $50. Unfortunately, that's one problem with AEW, is that you got to put down all that money for the show. WWE Network, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. But as far as the effort goes, I mean, both shows put out great efforts. A+ efforts. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat says, "Why did you shave your head?" And hold on a second. Something just popped up here. My bad. His question was, "Why did you shave your head? Also, what went wrong with EC3?" Well, you're going off topic about EC3. We'll talk about EC3 after the review. And I shaved my head because I felt like it. Just wanted a change. And we had somebody in the chat room leave a $2 super chat, and that person is now banned. All right, so also on the kickoff, we had this angle where Mia Yim was attacked backstage, and it was revealed that she would not be able to compete in the women's War Game match. And then Rhea Ripley ended up picking Dakota Kai as the replacement, as the new 4th person. Now, of course, the storyline was that Dakota Kai was kicked off of the team, and now due to this attack, this mystery attack, Dakota Kai was put back into the match. Now, we all pretty much had this feeling that Dakota Kai was going to turn heel at some point. Maybe not necessarily this match, but there were definitely people speculating that she was going to be a factor in this match. Monfile9 with a $2 super chat says, "Not a long show, but enjoyed every second of it." And I agree with you. I agree with you with that comment very much. All right, so let's talk about the women's War Games match. It was Team Ripley, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Dakota Kai against Team Baszler, Shayna Baszler, of course, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kay Lee Ray. Now, going into this match, my prediction was that the heels would go over here. We had Shawn Michaels do the narration for the opening video package. I thought that that was a nice touch. We had Candice LeRae and Io Shirai starting off the match. There was some kind of glitch here where there was the 5-minute timer. The timer expired, but then nobody came out. About 30 seconds later, we had the timer come back on, and then it was like the 10-second countdown, and then that's when Bianca Belair came out. Bianca was, of course, the second member of Team Baszler to come into the match because Baszler's team won the ladder match to get that advantage. Big G with a $2 super chat, and everybody, you gotta show some sympathy for Big G. His girl Shayna Baszler lost tonight. Sorry about that, Big G. It happens sometimes. Your favorite gets beat, and it's very rare that we see Shayna Baszler go down in defeat. But we'll talk about that all here in a few minutes. We had Rhea Ripley come out next to even the odds. She brought weapons into the ring. Crowd was chanting for tables, but she just grabbed a bunch of chairs and other various objects. I think kendo sticks. Kaylee Ray was the next to come out, and she actually teased bringing a table into the match. Crowd popped big for this, and then she decided not to do it. I liked it. Get some heel heat here. Crowd wants the table, so you're like, nope, no table. Sorry. Dakota Kai was the next person out, and here was the big moment. Dakota Kai comes out of the holding cage, and then she immediately turns around and starts beating down Tegan Nox, brutally attacking her, going after her leg, slamming the cage door into her leg. William Regal, the officials try to get her out of there. She ends up shoving Regal. I thought that this was really well done. I mean, this was predictable. We felt this was coming, but I liked the way it was executed. I thought it was really good. And then Dakota finally left. And then Shayna Baszler was out of her cage as the final member of her team to come into the match. And at this point, Shayna was boasting. It's 4-on-2. And I really thought we were going to see the heels go over here, especially when it was down to 4-on-2. I figured, the baby faces would put up a good fight, but in the end, they would get beat and there would be no shame in losing. But that's not what happened. Harold Warren with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Harold. He says, on a scale of 0 to 10, it was off the chart. Tomorrow night, make sure have some coffee or energy drinks for the boring 5-hour show. IJS, I'm just saying, he says. Thank you for that, Harold. And yeah, I mean, this happens every year. We're like watching NXT and we're blown away by it. And then the next night we got Survivor Series. It's much longer. The booking is questionable quite often. And some of the decisions you just shake your head about. So yeah, I just try to go into Survivor Series realizing I'm going to have issues with it. It's not going to be as fun as NXT. It's going to be longer. It's going to be drawn out. And you just got to deal with it. So anyways, it was 4-on-2, but somehow, someway, Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae managed to fight back. They had their moments of fury, and then Rhea managed to get the handcuffs that Baszler's team brought into the match, so that was another way for them to have an advantage, and she handcuffed Shayna and then hit the riptide onto the chairs that were set up and pinned Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler goes down in defeat to Rhea Ripley when the numbers were against the babyfaces. I was very surprised by this finish. I do like it because it sets up Rhea Ripley big time. I mean, she went over huge in this match. The fact that they were able to overcome the odds despite her mistake of putting Dakota Kai in the match, she still emerged victorious. Shows the WWE must really be high on Rhea Ripley now, and they're gonna pull the trigger on her. And now, unfortunately, I'm feeling like Shayna's gonna win at Survivor Series. My prediction was that Becky would win, but I feel like Shayna's gotta get her win back now. Is she really gonna lose 2 matches in a row? So I almost want to change my prediction. I'm not going to, but I feel like there's a good shot Baszler's gonna win tomorrow. Monfile9 with the $2 super chat says, "Don't be sad, Big G. She will probably win tomorrow." I mean, she doesn't necessarily have to win. You could still have Becky pin Bayley, but technically a loss is a loss. So yeah, great match. The women tore it up. Awesome stuff. All of them looked really good. And it was just a very fun War Games match with the ladies. So congratulations to them for tearing down the house and putting on a great match. And I love the storyline, the heel turn. All of it was well done. And speaking of done, see what I did there? We have the triple threat match. Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane versus Damien Priest. Damien Priest came out. He had the Scott Hall style vest that Scott Hall used to wear during the NWO days. And, he was doing the Razor's Edge and stuff. Damien Priest definitely has that star potential. Looks like he could be a big deal on the main roster at some point if WWE wanted to market him as a top superstar. The guy definitely has the look. And this was definitely one of those matches where everybody shined. Everybody looked good. Killian Dane got to do some cool stuff in this match. There was one point where he did the fall away slam and the Samoan drop to both guys simultaneously. That looked really cool. So yeah, I love these matches where when even in defeat, the guys that lost still had a good showing and they come out of the match stronger than they were going in. And I would say all 3 of them came out looking stronger than they did going in. So another thumbs up match here. Harold Warren with a $5 super chat says, "I have a gut feeling tomorrow night NXT will get swept at Survivor Series just like SmackDown Live did last year." Well, yeah, that was kind of my thought process with the predictions. I was thinking that, Raw would win the bulk of the matches, and the only match where I feel like NXT would win would be the match that has the least importance, and that would probably be the mid-card triple threat match, and that's a match where Shinsuke Nakamura, arguably the weak link of that match, can take the fall and Roderick Strong can beat him. Although now Nakamura has the new championship, and he also has Sami Zayn, so anything could happen there, I suppose. And then, of course, SmackDown has Roman Reigns, and I feel like, well, Roman Reigns, he just lost to Baron Corbin a few weeks ago. Is he really going to lose again in such a short period of time? So I feel like SmackDown's going to win that men's match. But yeah, the one I'm not so sure about now is that triple threat with Baszler, and I feel like she could end up winning that very easily. So maybe NXT gets 2 wins. We'll see. Anyways, back to the triple threat. Lots of big moves, lots of pins being broken up. There were a couple of times where Priest had the match won and then the pin got broken up. And then we had Pete Dunne up on Killian Dane on his back, and the 2 of them basically slammed onto Damien Priest. And then Dunne managed to push Dane off to the side and pin Damien Priest to pick up the victory. And now at Survivor Series, it will be Pete Dunne challenging Adam Cole, baby, for the NXT Championship at Survivor Series. And, of course, in Chicago, where we had that great Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne match from the NXT show back in 2017, I believe. Should be an awesome match. I do think Adam Cole will retain the championship, though. So, yeah, I like this finish, too, because Priest got pinned, but it was a result of both guys doing a move to him. So he had the impact of both guys, and then Dunn managed to take advantage of the situation and score the pinfall. So, like the finish, well thought out match, good stuff here. So now we move on to the singles match between everyone's favorite bro, the original bro, Matt Riddle, versus Finn Balor, making his grand return to NXT. This was a good match. I thought it was the weakest match of the show, but again, it was a good match, maybe even a very good match, surrounded by great matches. So it's not like it was a negative or anything. It was just a good match. It was solid, relatively slow paced at first, and then things picked up. Matt Riddle did his big moves, did the Goldberg jackhammer. Balor missed the coup de grace, and then Riddle tried to get the bro mission on to Balor. Balor broke out of it, and then Balor hit the 1916 DDT, and that was the finish of the match to defeat Matt Riddle. Good stuff here. I was not surprised that Balor won. He was my prediction. I figured, coming back after losing to Bray Wyatt, you got to reestablish Balor in NXT and give him a big win. And he's the veteran of the two, so naturally you would think that Balor would beat the guy who has less experience, and that's what happened. So no real harm in Riddle losing this match, and I'm sure he'll bounce back from this. So yeah, good stuff here. But yeah, probably the weakest match of the night, but still really good match. And Monfile9 with a $2 super chat says, where does Balor go after this NXT title? Possibly. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I think that there are other possibilities right now, but I could definitely see Balor challenging for the championship at some point. And now we move on to the main event of the evening. We're already at the main event. I love it. I really do. We had the men's War Games match, Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bebe, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong versus Team Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominic D, and a mystery man. Ciampa had this badass entrance. I love the way he came out. He had this mask, he had the hoodie, he had the war paint on. I like it. And he had the camouflage pants. Ciampa looked great. I mean, I love how he came out there, the attire, everything. I think he should use the mask more often. I thought that was pretty badass. I like the Titantron, the graphics. Everything about Ciampa is awesome. On point. So anyways, it was Ciampa and Roderick Strong starting off the match. Ciampa had the crutch. He gave it to Strong to use, and Strong actually was like, no, I don't need this. He threw it out. Kind of interesting considering Strong's a heel, but I guess Undisputed Era, they're that confident in their abilities, or they're just tweeners or shades of gray. I don't even know. Crowd loves them regardless of what they do, so it is what it is. Kyle O'Reilly was next out. 2-on-1 advantage, of course, due to Undisputed Era winning the ladder match. Dominic D was out next to even the odds, and then Bobby Fish came out. Keith Lee came out. Adam Cole, Bebe came out. Big G with a $2 super chat says, reminded me of Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, kind of see that. We had Adam Cole when he came out with the tables, which is funny because earlier I mentioned it was a nice moment of heel heat to not get the tables. But of course, like I said, Undisputed Era, they're pretty much shades of gray at this point anyways. Cole brought out the tables from under the ring, and he spent a good amount of time getting tables. He got like 4 or 5 different tables. I guess they were really planning to get some wood on this show. But then before he could get into the ring, he got knocked through one of the tables that he set off along the barricade by Ciampa. Ciampa got him, threw him back in the ring, and then we had the cage door shut, and the announcers were acting like they weren't sure if a 4th guy was going to come out or not. The timer then appeared, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the 4th man was Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens coming back to NXT. He had the original KO NXT shirt. Crowd popped huge for this. I thought it was really cool to have Kevin Owens come out, but I will be honest with you guys. I was hoping it was going to be some kind of big return, like we've all been speculating about John Morrison or maybe somebody we weren't expecting. Like, I felt like they were building this up for something monumental, like really a huge jaw dropper. And yeah, Kevin Owens back in NXT. It's cool. I like it, but I almost felt a little disappointed with it. Like, I think what they should have done was they should have just had Owens come out as the fourth guy right away when they did the introductions. You know, after Ciampa came out, Owens' music hits. He's the fourth guy. You know, just get it over with. I think that would have been a little bit better. But, I mean, the crowd loved it, and I'm sure the viewers, for the most part, were happy with it. But, yeah, I gotta admit, I was a little disappointed with it, considering how much they were building this up, and, you know, Triple H saying it was going to be epic, and I was thinking they're going to bring back Morrison, or they're going to do some huge thing that we're not expecting at all. And I was almost half expecting Owens to come back to NXT anyways. I mean, we've been speculating on it for a while that he'd be going back to NXT at some point, just because, you know, NXT's trying to build the brand, and it is the third brand now, and, you know, they're competing with AEW. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea to definitely build up the star power, and Owens can definitely work with some of those guys and elevate those guys. The game is on 100 with a $5.50 chat, 57-cent super chat. Thank you for that. He says, the women killed it in War Games. I knew Ripley's team was winning after 4-on-2. Undisputed Era put through the tables for a loss. Ripley was put over big. Yeah, Ripley was definitely put over big time on this show. And it would not shock me if she's the one that ends up beating Baszler. Like, who else would it be? They pushed her so hard. I feel like she has to be the one now that beats her. But anyways, let's talk about the rest of the men's War Game match. Owens yelled, "Suck it, bitch." Again, this video is not for kids. So COPPA, this video is not geared towards kids. It is for adults. So I'm going to say, suck it, bitch. This was a show that had suck it, bitch as part of the dialogue. Again, not suited for kids. He hit Adam Cole with a stunner. And then Undisputed Era managed to make a comeback despite Owens being there. Cole ended up hitting Owens with the Panama Sunrise, basically the Canadian Destroyer, on that steel platform in the middle between the two rings. That was pretty brutal. But then the baby faces came back again, and as the game is on 100 mentioned earlier, each member of Undisputed Era went through a table. Dominic D chokeslammed Strong through a table. Owens did a frog splash onto Riley through a table. And my man Keith Lee, who looked awesome in this match, Vince has to be salivating. Like, Vince takes a look at Keith Lee, and Vince is flipping out of his chair like he did when Stacy Keibler did the lap dance. Keith Lee is going to be a huge star because he's got it. He's got that just natural charisma. He's got the size, and he can move like a cruiserweight. Everything about him screams superstar. That guy's going to be a big deal. I'm very confident that he's going to be a major star. Bask in his glory. Tony H with a $2 super chat says, that Ciampa spot, yowie wowie. All right, yeah, let's talk about that. So anyways, I also have to mention Keith Lee powerbombing Fish through the table, and then the big climactic finish of the match, which thankfully was the finish. Like, I was almost thinking they were going to do a kick out, but I'm glad they didn't. The two of them were on the top of the cage, and then Ciampa managed to pick up Cole, get him behind his back, and drop down with basically the white noise that Sheamus does, all the way down through the two tables that were set up in the ring, and pinned Adam Cole for the babyfaces to emerge victorious in War Games. Air Raid is what it's called. White noise, air raid, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, crazy finish to the match. Awesome ending to the pay-per-view. And looks like at some point we're going to get Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT World Championship. Probably the next Takeover pay-per-view, which is, funny enough, in Portland, Oregon. So I leave Portland and finally they bring a pay-per-view back to Oregon. Of course they do that. But I'm happy for my friends in Portland, RJ, Alexander, Josh, you guys out there. You're going to get an amazing show. So I'm very happy for you guys that you finally get to see an NXT pay-per-view. Finally, the first WWE pay-per-view in Oregon since No Mercy 2008. Seriously, 12 years. It took 12 years for WWE to do a pay-per-view event in Oregon, and it's on a Sunday. I'm hoping they can pack the crowd. I'm a little concerned about that because the NXT house shows they did were not big draws. Like they maybe got 1,000, 2,000 people. And apparently it's going to be at the Moda Center from what I heard. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that's going to be a tough task to fill out that building for a standalone NXT show. Nico with the $2 super chat says, Full Gear or Takeover? Love the haircut. Thank you for that, Nico. Again, as I said earlier, because of the price difference and the shortness, I got to go with the NXT show. But then again, you had some amazing stuff at Full Gear. Moxley and Omega was just absolutely insane. And just that whole card was really solid. Tom McCarthy with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tom. He says, thoughts on how the next NXT is on a Sunday? Well, I guess they figure that Sunday is a better night for pay-per-views since people are in a habit of watching pay-per-views on a Sunday, and since NXT is a standalone pay-per-view, they can do it on a Sunday. And Shanti with a $5 super chat says, your 25-9 no DQ Mania champion is back for his belt. LOL, just kidding. Happy belated birthday, and tonight was amazing. Thank you very much, Shanti, and I will proclaim you as the 25-9 No DQ Mania champion. How about that? Congratulations. And then got a $5 super chat from Monfile9. Thank you for that. He says, maybe the Wednesday war with AEW is one of the reasons they're bringing more star power to NXT. Well, I doubt WWE is going to outright say that, but you know how egos work in wrestling. These guys have egos a mile long. Triple H does, Cody does, they all do. And they are going to be thinking logically, business and all that, but at the same time, they want to win. Even though it doesn't really mean all that much, it's about the ego and about the bragging rights. So I think there is this feeling that you want to keep things moving along and you want to build up the viewership. You want to try to beat the other company in the numbers. So yeah, I definitely think that there's something to that. With Kevin Owens coming in and all that, you want to build up that NXT star power. Supernatural 28 with a $2 super chat retracted the comments. I don't know what that's all about. So let's go ahead and do the letter grade. Solid A, man. The only thing I think giving it an A instead of an A plus for me is that we didn't get like a John Morrison level surprise or some kind of big surprise on the show. I'm all about the surprises. I like seeing something totally out of left field. And we really didn't get that on this show. Everything was pretty much what you would expect with a few things here and there. Little tweaks like the way Dakota Kai turned heel and that sort of thing. Tic Tat Tat with an A+. Kev Dog with an A. Israel Diaz with an A+. Richard Moman with an A, Curtis Butler with an A, CC Drink with an A, Gamazon 100 with a solid A, OG Crushes with an A, Mike B with an A+, Caitlin with an A, and Joseph with an A-. So pretty much everyone with an A or an A+. Maltzy says solid A, 9.5 out of 10. And yeah. Definitely recommend the show. I mean, it's an easy watch. 2.5 hours. Bam. Love it. They're very easy watch as far as I'm concerned. So that was NXT, everybody. Tomorrow night's Survivor Series might not be as easy of a watch, but I will be back tomorrow night. Caitlin was a little bit under the weather, so she was not on tonight, but I believe, and this isn't a guarantee, but I believe she will be on tomorrow night. Maybe Aaron as well, but again, no guarantees. At the very least, you guys will get me. I will be here tomorrow night to discuss Survivor Series, so please tell a friend, anybody, like go in your contacts on Facebook. You know somebody who loves WWE, have them check out this video. I really do appreciate it, guys. The word of mouth goes a very long way. So if each of you could just tell one person about these videos, that really can make a big difference. So please spread the word, tell a friend, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for the Survivor Series 2019 review. Take care, everybody.